Hey y'all, this is Seb and
Altair.
And we're here for a very epic episode of Campfire Tales.
Is this really the most epic tale that we have?
To date, this will be the most epic tale we have told, but we do have a couple that rival it later.
Okay, that's fair.
So, we told you we followed the ravens, just as Borga said, because we were scared for our lives.
He said he would crush us like wisps of fur, and he seemed like he meant it.
He legitimately seemed like he meant it. So, we lost the ravens, and retrospect, those might actually have been ravens.
Those probably were real ravens. Like, they had depth.
Yeah, they did. There was, like, beaks and beady eyes and things like that. And I think I actually did upset the ravens, and they abandoned us.
Yeah, Seb straight up just yelled at them. The big, bad dyer yelled at the tiny bird.
Yeah, I know it was bad. And then we, forded through a freezing river.
Because that was smart.
That was a horrible idea. We should have just walked along the edge of it.
The river might not have been freezing had we not upset Borga, who was sending cold winds after us.
Yeah.
It might have been fine.
Okay. So, I messed up a lot in that forest. I admit it. It was not my shining moment.
You were kind of off your game, even for your normal scaredy cat self. You were just kind of extra jumpy.
Yeah, well, okay, so the guy in my head, the one that we're going to admit who it is in a little bit here, he was really loud. Imagine one of those horror movies where there's always just someone whispering in your ear nonstop about everything you're afraid of, and then he just starts yelling it at you.
That would be really disconcerting. I mean, my guy was there, but he was just kind of like, get through this already. I am, waiting.
Yes, I'm bored and I'm waiting.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, obviously we upset all those ravens, and they abandoned us, and we got into the forest, and then we found what we thought was all the ravens sitting in a circle, so we didn't really know which way to go. So we're going in, and I'm like, okay, ravens, my bad, I shouldn't have done that. And it turns out they weren't ravens.
I mean, they looked like ravens. We were in a circle of trees, this nice little clearing, lined with branches and all these raven-like shapes on it. And, it was kind of darker in the forest, so we didn't see the, shine on the feathers or anything, but it's totally not ravens, guys.
They weren't ravens. Okay, have you ever heard of a shadow puppet? Shadow puppet is usually a minor, inconvenient spirit that likes to give people a little bit of a fright.
Hides in your shadow and then makes it seem like something else is following you, and then it just isn't anything. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, they show up on windows as little hands, but you can't, there's nothing to them. They're harmless.
They can't actually do anything to you. They just, startle you.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of power. And so they can take the form of anything, and in a semi-dark forest that's got enough shadows for them to form, yeah, you could mistake them for a raven.
Mm-hmm. Especially when, you're a little off your game.
And you might have been walking through a river, talking about how you needed to find the ravens, and they may have set a nice trap for you, and then you walked into it and apologized to them.
Yeah, exactly like that.
So, yeah, I may have upset the ravens, and then we fought a bunch of shadow puppets. Fun fact about shadow puppets.
It is not a fun fact. It is an unfun fact. And that's coming from me.
Frightful fact?
Frightful fact.
Yeah, that seems appropriate. So, frightful fact about shadow puppets, the more of them there are, the stronger they are, and the more they can interact with the world.
Yeah, you would think. Little tiny thing. Can't do much. But then you times that by 100. Whew.
Yeah, so think of it like one of them makes a little tiny dagger and tries to, stick you with it. Mm-hmm. But then you get 100 of them together, they make a giant thing that then slices your arm off. That's the difference.
Yeah, and they can totally do that, and it is terrifying.
So we get in there, and everything we think is fine, it's fine, it's fine. And all of a sudden, there's this sound, you see all of them swirl together, and this vortex of crazy shadows and spinning, and then it's like a giant maw is on the ground that opens its jagged teeth and roars at us, which silences everything else in this little dark forest and causes us to freeze in place, like, what's going on? What is this thing? They're not ravens. And I'm like, Altair, they're not ravens. They're dark spirits. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
And of course, I'm frozen because, we just were looking at a bunch of birds and it turned into a dark tornado of death. And then just a giant, like, Tokotas maw, I guess?
Kinda.
Like with huge teeth. And it totally probably could have eaten Seb in like a single bite.
Yeah. And so these teeth start jacking out of the ground at us. And the first one gets me and then I start bleeding. And I'm like, oh, shadow puppets made me bleed. A shadow puppet made me bleed. So I am just frozen in absolute fear. And the voice in my head is laughing so hard and so loud. I've got like a migraine.
Yeah, so I see Seb start bleeding and I'm like, shadow puppets can't do that. What the heck? And, I'm kind of freaking out. And then the voice in my head is like, dumbass, you have a weapon. Hurry up. I'm bored. So, okay, earlier, and I will admit this is probably a stupid move on my part, I might have taken that torch and just shoved it in my saddlebag. Head first.
Still lit.
I figured it would go out. This leather's cured. It might smoke a little, but it'd be fine in the end.
Lit torch into a saddlebag.
Yeah, like I said, didn't think things through too well. Borga kind of had us rattled.
Yeah, he did.
And I feel like he probably super wanted that torch to go be put away after, talking to him.
Yeah, totally.
But you know what? It worked out in our favor, so I was like, okay, you're right, voice in my head, who I totally know who it is now, but at the time was just like, thanks, bro. Thanks for having my back. And I was like, I'll just get the torch, and I'll light the torch. I don't know how I'll light the torch, but I will light the torch. Because you know what hurts shadows? Light.
And in all retrospect, this didn't make sense as a plan since we just been in the water and wet things don't light on fire.
I didn't think about that at all.
I know you didn't. But Altair pulls out the torch, and then something weird happens.
Out of the context of everything else that happened on this trip, it's not the weirdest thing. But was it probably one of the most convenient things ever?
Mm-hmm.
The torch was still lit.
It was lit. Pink flames erupted into the clearing and to life. It was still lit against all odds.
Like, as we've established now, it has been days. Days since walking down the mountain. And it's been shoved in my saddlebag the whole time. And my bag's not been warm. And I haven't smelled any burning. And I don't think it was really, like, glowing with light.
Nope.
But as soon as I pulled it out, just with fire.
At which point, my dear friend descends upon the shadow puppets that are turning themselves into giant sickles and to giant creatures. Like, one of them was kind of like a big thing with a club that was beating down upon me. The other turned itself into various sorts of blades which were cutting at me. And he starts wielding a torch like a madman with a machete.
Well, it seemed like the most appropriate thing to do, because the voice in my head was like, well, it's shadow, we can't eat these, so just get rid of them, because waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, swing the torch.
And he did. Surprisingly effectively. Like, literally, he jumped up a tree and then through the air, swiping down to see if it would work to get the closest shadow puppet. And it did. The thing evaporated.
So, I decided we'll just go crazy. Okay, I kind of lost track of what I was doing. I was kind of just another one of those, maybe, possibly...
Blood Furies?
Not a...
Glowing orange eyes. Blood Fury. However, this Blood Fury I got behind because this Blood Fury was dealing with the shadow puppets.
Yeah. I think I jumped on your back at one point.
You did. You literally ran all the way up my back, jumped off my head, and then sliced 3 of them that were trying to slice at me.
So go me.
Yeah, okay, go Altair.
I know, I am the best.
He very much saved us in that moment. I apparently was useless against spirits. Yep, super useless against those particular spirits.
You soaked damage like a tank?
I guess. I got a lot of cuts on that particular fight.
Yeah, some of those really scarred kind of bad, too.
They did. Especially the one on my face.
Yeah. At least you didn't lose your eye. It was kind of close.
It was real close. I don't know what I would have done if I lost my eye. Oh, God, the jokes. The jokes he would have made if I had lost my eye.
It would have been great. I could have kept an eye out for you.
I wasn't even talking about you, but yeah, you too.
Oh my God. That's right.
Yeah. So we had a fairly epic fight with a raven. The way I saw the dang thing is Altair goes up a tree and slices through them. At which point another one of them turns itself into, like, I guess a machete would actually be the right thing to say, and slices it at him. He dances out of the way, cuts off just the tiniest bit of fur in a dramatic effect, and then he swings back around and poof, into flames it goes. Up my back, another 3, down to a slide, another 4, and around this clearing until it's just us.
Huh. You know, that probably would have been really cool to see. I kind of wish I remember. Do you think I could do that again if I tried?
No, I'm pretty sure you were possessed by the demonic power of a god.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but super helpful in the moment. The only good thing that guy did, which puts him maybe at 6 on the list.
I could debate that one with you. Actually, no. 7, I'm pretty sure our 7 is shared.
I'm pretty sure our 7 is shared, so 6.
6 at best.
Yeah, so 6. And, so watch all this happen as I'm just standing there, shaking, frozen in place, taking damage. Like an idiot.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You made up for it later.
Yeah, I guess. So, I think half of them retreated, and then we were just, there. In the forest, surrounded by not ravens, and we still didn't know where the ravens were.
Yeah, because, they had all been not ravens. But we were in the forest, so I guess we didn't have wind behind us for a moment, at least.
Yeah, actually, the wind was gone at that point.
Yeah, maybe it couldn't get through the trees, or maybe we were where we were supposed to be. It's kind of debatable.
Well, we know now we were where we were supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that bear showed up.
Yeah. It's a weird bear.
It was a really weird bear. I'm going to tell you about the really weird bear and our second hunt?
Is it second? I don't really know.
Second spirit hunt. I don't count the rabbits. I count the rabbit.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
We'll tell you about that next time. This is Altair and Seb signing off.